Hey there. It's been a couple of days, so I figure I'll come on back here and talk some politics, but it'll be a little more lighthearted about it, but with serious, hard-pounding commentary to to um, to kind of focus on and relate it to how we can create a better America and a better world. But let's focus on the lighthearted. Ben Shapiro. He's a joke. Ben Shapiro is, and I think most of y'all would know who Ben Shapiro is. He's a young conservative commentator, and he looks like Fred Savage from the Wonder Years meets Mark Levin as a grown man, and somewhere in between that concoction is Ben Shapiro. The young millennial conservative who acts like an old man. You haven't heard him singing. It is torture, torture, torture. But anyway, the term movement conservatism comes to mind when you think of Ben Shapiro, and he might be the youngest face of that movement. Um, I don't know if movement conservatism is a mainstream phrase, but I've heard it quite a few times from Kyle Kalinske, who Ben Shapiro seems to not want to debate, because we know what will happen if Ben Shapiro debates Kyle Kalinske. Kyle Kalinske will own him. He would. Yeah, Fox didn't like it when they had Kyle Kalinske on the show. He showed them what for. But anyway, Ben Shapiro, well, as I said, he's part of what is called movement conservatism. He may be the youngest face of movement conservatism. And if you don't know what movement conservatism is, it's basically um, economic corporatist globalism, capitalism on crack with repressive free so-called free trade, um, antagonism toward labor unions and against the regulatory structure in our domestic economy, um, the worst of economic libertarianism without any of the virtues of libertarianism, what little virtue they do possess. It's corporatism with basically foreign policy neoconservatism. That is a foreign policy based on empire building. Uh, Basically, is basically a foreign policy that welcomes invading any countries that so much as frown at the United States the wrong way. Um, Preemptive strikes, ask questions later. That's Ben Shapiro. Religious right. Your typical, social conservative that wants to have religiosity strangle the American public, which Ben Shapiro ought to know better, being Jewish, because the Christian right, who claim to be for Judeo-Christian values, are basically not for that. That's just a cover. What they prefer to have is Christian Sharia. I'm a Christian, so I don't want anybody saying, "Oh, there he goes bashing Christians." No such a thing. But I don't want the American Taliban taking over any more than the actual Taliban in the Middle East taking over, regardless. So, so Ben Shapiro basically, incorporate the what he thinks are the virtues of movement conservatism, which is corporatist globalism, tongue tying there, foreign policy neoconservatism, and good old time religious right intolerance mindset that goes along with it. And so he's the youngest face of that, as I said. When you think of movement conservatism, you think of people like Ted Cruz and Rush Limbaugh, George W. Bush, Dick Cheney. Pat Robertson, the Heritage Foundation, um, the military industrial complex, Dan Crenshaw, Michelle Bachmann, Sarah Palin. You get the idea. Rush Limbaugh, if I did mention him, John Hannity, Mark Levin. I mean, and yeah, Ben Shapiro is part of that. So there you have it. And Ben Shapiro, who I mean, when he rallies against things he doesn't like identity politics and socialism. It's funny because identity politics, and I have my personal left wing view on it. It's more of a class reductionist, and I know that might be a dirty word to some of my leftist followers here. And I think I know what it means, but I don't want anybody who's left us an audience what I think that they think might be a negative view of class reductionism. That's not what I advocate per se, but I'm getting around that. He claims to be against identity politics, and there are some areas where I do think identity politics, where being super woke, backfires and ends up whereby the left becomes a circular firing squad. Um, but he talks about how leftists find racism everywhere, and he'll just sit there and whine. He's like, you hear African Americans and the Latinos and the LGBTQ community and the Muslims and women in general, and they all complains about bigotry. You're a racist. You're a misogynist. You're a bigot. You're a bigot. Well, at the same time, if when Omar made some not even all that controversial remarks about APAC, what do? He screamed, "Anti-Semite! Anti-Semite! You're an anti-Semite! You're an anti-Semite!" And then he'll go in places like go to these conservative forums, mocking Bernie Sanders with the hands and the Brooklyn accent. I mean, uh, and refer to Jewish people who are the majority that vote Democratic or support liberal or left of center causes, calling them ginos, Jews in name only. Um, Ben Shapiro is a practitioner of identity politics, and he is an ardent Zionist, and I'm not necessarily saying that's a good or bad thing, but what I'm saying is that he's a hardcore supporter of Israel, and he's anti-socialist, and he hates anything that has anything to do with socialism. And I would hope he's smart enough to realize that socialists, and dare I say, even communists, initially created the state of Israel, and it was kind of set up as a socialist state. And not only that, that in spite of the shitty government of Benjamin Netanyahu at the moment, um, Israel has socialized medicine. So I don't know if Ben Shapiro is aware of that, or is he one an individual that think it's okay in Israel but not okay anywhere. I don't know where he stands on it, but which is anyway, it's just an observation on my part. But let me get to the, like I always said, the meat and potatoes of what I need to discuss, because I tend to deflect and go elsewhere sometimes, and it's a fault of mine. But I'm working on it. I am working on it. He claims to be for small government. Mr. Small Government, the guy that's okay with domestic spying, the guy that's okay with having the government to stop same-sex couples from getting married. Well, that was his position, still his position, but it's the law of the land now. Nothing he can do about it, hopefully. Um, but here's the thing: he claims to be for small government, and he does his own version of virtue signaling that the SJWs on the left do. I know I don't want to overuse the term SJW. That's so 2015 to 2017, but I'm just making a comparison and analogy. So bear with me, you know. but he tries his own version of virtue signaling, tries his own virtue signaling and moralizing that the left supposedly do. He does it himself. Now I'm gonna tell you, I would not know what a Cardi B song is if it slapped me beside the head. I don't. I mean, I don't really. There's no don't really. I don't listen to rap music. I mean, I don't. I I have my musical preferences, and rap music isn't one of them. I don't listen to country music. I mean, it's just something about the melody or what have you that doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't appeal to me. Um, I just there's certain music I don't listen to them, and it's my I'm a little more narrow. If you don't know what my musical taste is, I I'm 51 years old. I grew up in the 1980s, and I tended to listen to a lot of what was called new wave, punk rock, post punk, college rock, that sort of thing back then. Still do, and but I I do listen to variation and various types of musics, but rap music isn't one of them. However, as I said, I would not know what a Cardi B song was if it smacked me across the face. But apparently, there's a controversy over a song called WAP, which, if there's any younger people in the audience, you probably know what it stands for. I'm not going to say. But to hear Ben Shapiro on his show basically going about and repeating the lyrics and being incensed and being outraged, what have you, it's kind of funny. I mean, it was kind of funny. And him, like, talking about how vulgar the song is. Well, as I said, um, and I just said I would not know what a Cardi B song was if it smacked me across the the face, and I really wouldn't. But I did take the time and opportunity to check the lyrics out, and I did watch one video. As I said, not my cup of tea. It's not what I listen to. But you know what? And here's the thing. I may think the song's a bit crude myself per se. And I'm not a prude. But here's my advice to Ben Shapiro if he hates WAP by Cardi B. You don't have to listen to it. If it's on if it's on the radio or if it's on MTV or well, the MTV don't play videos anymore, really. If it's or if it's on wherever, if you just happen to hear it and within your power to turn it off or walk away from it, that's all you have to do. Don't bellyache about something you don't like, like a song that offends you. I mean, and here's the thing. I mean, what you do when you do that, Mr. Shapiro, you are enabling, and you're making what you supposedly oppose. You're making that more enticing and making it edgier and making it more badass to listen to. You don't like it, you don't have to listen to it, and problem solved. There's a lot of things in life that offends me. A lot of people There's a lot of music I don't like. There's a lot of entertainment I'm not into. There's a lot of styles that doesn't jive with me. I mean, and just what do we have? Like 6 billion people on this planet, and we're going to have variations of styles and everything. And I will say this: as far as pop culture is concerned, probably the most wonderful thing about living in the early 21st century is that you can pretty much have whatever style you want and you will not be within reason to look down upon. You got a little more freedom societally than you used to in some ways. And so you can do what the hell you want to do. Dress the way you want to dress, comb your hair the way you want to comb your hair, wear the kind of glasses you want to wear. You can listen to whatever you want to listen to, like the movies you want to like. Um, as long as you're not harming anybody, as long as not being of harm to anybody, is whatever floats your boat, go for it. And so I just, as I said, I mean, I probably, maybe on the song itself, as far as the crudeness, I may come the closest to agreeing with Ben Shapiro as I could be on any issue. But still, I say, listen, I don't. I it's not my style. I subjected myself once to it, and then I can go on with my life. I don't have to listen to it. So what, Ben? So what? So what? There are more important issues than a silly pop song. I mean, we have income inequality, and that's really getting worse under this COVID crisis, and the Trump administrations and congressional Republicans, and even in some cases congressional Democrats, non-response or irresponsible or inadequate responding to the crisis. We got an eviction crisis on our hands. We have a healthcare crisis. We know where you stand on healthcare, Ben Shapiro, on the wrong side, and that is your opposition to Medicare for all. We have a climate control crisis in our hands. We have all kinds of problems that we need to address. Somehow, I think whatever you may think of Cardi B or whatever I may think of Cardi B is beside the point. Who cares? Who cares about Cardi B one way or the other? Ben Shapiro. Who cares? Discuss something of relevance other than, I mean, and I'm guilty by even talking about this, but seriously, Ben Shapiro needs to talk about something of relevance. And Cardi B and whatever passed for pop music in the early 21st century, it's not relevant. It's unimportant. It's not it's an issue not to be worked up about. Well, if you like what you heard today, feel free to subscribe, like or dislike, comment whether you like what I have to say or not. And I'm going to make a special plea to everyone listening. If you haven't subscribed, the reason I'm asking you to subscribe right now is because I am trying to get over 100 subscribers right now at the moment, because I just realized that in order to have a URL for YouTube on my channel, my platform, I do need over 100 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed yet and you're on the fence about it, please do. Please do. It helps with my algorithms. It helps make my platform more relevant. As a free speech absolutist, whatever you have to say, if you have a platform, by all means, use it, utilize it, exercise this free speech. This is my position as a free speech absolutist. And as I said, like, dislike, subscribe, comment, either way, share, and and if you have a platform, utilize it. And until next time, excuse me. Until next time, sorry. Peace and Bernie Sanders for president 2024. And no, I'm not kidding when I said that.